This is just a quick comment about my code notebooks. So I had planned to put up more code, but I wrote some pretty complex code that does a lot of difficult computations, and by difficult I mean computationally heavy, and they ended up eating up so much memory that I couldn't put them up. In the way that I put up my other notebooks. Really, I only have a few gigabytes of free server from Amazon that I keep all of this on. So there's a limit to how much I can put up for free. That is the reality. So I hope you've enjoyed my code notebooks. Basically, unless some angel comes out of nowhere and gives me some money to go buy more server, that's all I can put up of my sort of magical code notebooks. So, given that, I want to point out a few things, share my opinion. I'll share why one of the reasons that I put up code in the first place is that too often I see people in medicine and many other fields approach technology products as if they're magical. I mean, I literally think that some people think there are magical, omniscient, faultless fairy elves in the background coding away the code that makes the computer programs they use, and therefore nothing can be incorrect that comes out of them. And once you start coding, you realize that is like the opposite of truth. That any bugs and difficult problems in your thinking that you haven't resolved when you make code come out in the code, and you often make a buggy, problematic product. And if that were the only problem with technology, particularly in medicine, I wouldn't have much new to say. But actually, I view the problems of medtech, many of them, as something much more sinister. And I don't mean sinister in the way of Theranos, where you had a bunch of psychopaths lying, but sinister in that what's really going on is an unfortunate clash of cultures that is turning medtech into essentially almost a cancer. Um, and I would say a lot of med tech companies in particular are almost like metastases. Now, metastases don't have their own brain, they don't know where they came from. But I will tell you where the primary is in this case. The primary is actually the internet. So, back when I started coding over 2 decades ago in the 90s, um, you could do a lot of things live. Someone would call you, hey, this animation on a website doesn't work, and you could just fix the JavaScript and push it up live. And in the end, it didn't really matter because a lot of websites were doing things like selling shoes or selling someone's artwork. And an animation, whether it worked or didn't work, none of this really matters. But that kind of live software development almost got codified. And in fact, when people talk about DevOps, oftentimes that's what they're really talking about. They're talking about a cycle of almost live software being released. So in medicine, what that really means is that you're getting a beta product and you are essentially the live clinical trial. Okay, I'm going to repeat this. If you get a medical device and the company that is creating it, this medical device that runs an algorithm or some kind of software that runs an algorithm, it's fairly complex. Um, if you get one of these things, you are often really the true clinical trial. Why? Because that company is often changing the algorithm and tweaking with it in nearly real time. Dealing with such changes in algorithms is often beyond the capability of regulatory bodies. They don't have the time and they don't have the expertise. So, this pattern of development works well in software. Like, remember Gmail? Gmail had beta version, and you were kind of working on the beta version. Maybe you forgot about this, but not everyone did. That was Google's way of testing Gmail before it was the alpha real product. It's almost like you were a tester working for them for free. And in exchange, you got a free product. Well, this kind of tech swap deal does not really work well in medicine, where you may end up dead before somebody else has to pay for a product that was developed on you. And I'm not saying this is the case with every med tech company, but I see this all across med tech, and it's quite scary. And most doctors don't understand technology, they don't understand programming, and they just take whatever they're being told at face value, and that's simply not the way a lot of tech companies work. And if you understand, you need to ask them about issues like DevOps, algorithm releases, patches, and so on. You'll be ahead of the game. And fundamentally, if you understand it's just humans writing code, you'll understand that it could make mistakes. And it's not an exaggeration to say patients have already died from these mistakes. So that long opinion was just to share one of the reasons I had decided to share code. Unfortunately, I ran out of memory space, and this project really isn't self-funding. So if you're looking for more code, it's all over the internet. You can always go to something like Bitbucket or GitHub or tutorials online. So until I get more server space, I won't be sharing code notebooks. I may be sharing more interviews. Have a great day.